Hello ladies and gentlemen, you join me on our first MotoVlog as Cams and Cranks. It's going to be a bit of a weird one because I've just had tyres changed. I had some CST tyres which I think are quite cheap, and they'd not got the best write-ups when you look them up, and the front tyre was getting to the point it needed to be replaced anyway, so I wanted to change. So I've gone for some Continental Conti Streets, which are not a sports tyre. This isn't a sports bike anyway. That is the only tyre I could find that'll fit this bike. I just wanted a reputable brand, and I mean the write-up on these are better. So everyone says the wet performance is good, dry performance is good, whereas the other ones, they said they're not the best in the wet, or they don't trust them fully. So we'll see what these are like. I'm just going to pull into the petrol station though, and check tyre pressures, because they inflate. I took the tyres off and I got the... Oh, it's out of order. Well, that's that done then, isn't it? Yeah, I was saying I took the tyres off and took it to the shop because it's cheaper to do it that way, and they've inflated the tyres when they put them on. I got a feeling they're overinflated, but it don't feel like a massive amount. They don't feel rock hard. It's just I could be rushing myself here though, because this is the first time I've ever had fresh tyres. So I think it's either that they're slightly overinflated, or it's just the fact that I'm used to worn out tyres where it had a flat spot, and now these tip in so easily. But yeah, it's a bit hair raising at first. I got on the bike and it felt like it just it wanted to go sideways all the time. So I'm currently breaking these tyres in. I'm just gonna take it easy, but not that I can really take it anything other than easy on the 125, if you know what I mean. Even if I rag it, that's quite gentle on a tyre for a bike. So now, try to get some heat into them. There's no one really behind me at the moment, so I'm going to do some braking and then accelerating. So yeah, welcome to our first MotoVlog. This is probably our 5th attempt. We've had loads of issues with audio, mainly wind noise. So we've got a system with a newer receiver, so it's recorded internally, which is really good. So I've just got this tiny little device. I'll get Max to pop it up on the screen or something. And then he also bought a microphone which is apparently designed for motovlogging. So it's just this little lav mic which sticks out into the front of my helmet, and it's meant to help, but we'll see. Yeah, so this is going to be basically a motovlog and a review of these tyres, I guess, because it's going to be the first ride out on them. They are feeling a bit better now. They're not brand new. Got a couple of miles on them and they're feeling a bit better, to be honest. Not as sketchy. So the idea with these motovlogs is to just have some different content to go onto our channel. We're probably going to use these as a update system, so I can talk about things coming up on the channel, things that I've done on the channel, and just see if people like it in this style of content or not. We've been meaning to do it for a few months now, but just getting the audio to be acceptable was our biggest issue. So if you're new to the channel, this is the first video you're watching. There's 3 of us in Cams and Cranks, me, Maximus and Vinny. We are attempting to fix motorbikes. So we've just finished our first project, which was a little 60 quid bit bike I picked up, which was just a rolling frame, nothing else, and a broken engine. So we had to replace the piston and eventually other things in the engine, but we won't spoil it for you. And we just had to sort of buy all the other bits to go with the frame, put some bigger wheels on it and make it into an off-road machine again. So that is all done and dusted. That has been completed and we're so happy. We're just trying to get a date organised with a farmer I know to let us test it in a field. Our next project is a Kawasaki ER6N from 2006, I believe. It's a 55 reg plate, but I think it's registered early 2006. So it's a funny story how we got that. Max did a video on it. So basically, someone we know bought the bike. They had an issue, and they bought it from a dealer second hand, but they had an issue quite early on where the spark plug de-threaded the head and came out. They were quite quick and gave him a new bike, and they said they would collect the bike at some point. This bike was never collected, and when contacted they said, oh, do you just want to put it in a skip for us? They didn't want it. So then we came along and we said, can we buy it off you if you don't want it? They came back and said, yeah, sure, £200, and we thought you were going to bin it a minute ago. So we offered them 100 and they accepted, so I reckon we could have got away with less, but oh well, still dirt cheap, £100 for a 650. So yeah, that is our next project. We are starting that imminently, so we're going to be meeting up and trying to get it running first of all. That is the main thing, is just to get it running, which I don't think, famous last words, I don't think it's going to take too much. A battery, we're going to attempt to repair the head with a thread kit. If that doesn't work, we will replace the head. If it's too dodgy, we'll replace the head. There's no point in fixing it if it's just going to break 10 miles down the road. So we're going to do it properly. It's quite a boring ride really. I'm just on that A38 main A road. But yeah, so we're going to do that first, and obviously we'll change the oil filter before we try to start it, and check the air filter. We'll replace both spark plugs since we need one anyway. May as well get the set, and we'll see if it runs. And then after that, we're still deciding what to do with it, whether we change the colour, whether we keep the colour the same and just try and make it look better, if we do any other mods to it. That is basically going to be a decision for us to make as we go after we've got it running, and also a decision maybe you guys can have an input on. So we'll put a picture of the bike on the screen here, and if you guys want to comment or have any ideas, feel free to give us suggestions what we could do with it. So there is a concept of changing it to black and purple, since purple is one of my favourite colours. And then, but we're also open to any other colour combos. So please leave your suggestions down below, and we will take them in all to consideration and choose one. So this is moving off from what's coming up on the channel. I'm just going to take a little sec to review my bike, which I've had since March, which is my first ever motorcycle for the road. It's a 125 Yamaha YS, and it's a commuter style bike. We'll put a picture of it up here, and I'll probably do a little walk around in a minute. I'll find somewhere to get off. So basically, the reason I chose this bike, it's not my dream bike for a first bike. It's just the one that I could get away with without annoying the wife and ruining my bank. So this bike only cost me, it's a 2018, it had 6,200 miles when I bought it, and it was only £1,500, so it's not a massive hit compared to the YZF-R 125 or the Honda CBR 125R, which I did want a sports bike. For a while I was after the MT 125, but it was between those three, and the insurance on them and the cost was just not justifiable for a bike I'm only going to have for a year. So this was $1,500. If you wanted a decent example of one of the other bikes, you're paying $3,000 second hand, and the insurance. So for me, as a 27-year-old who's also got a car license for 9 years, which does help a little bit, that was £420 for the year for this, which is 5,000 miles third party fire and theft. If I wanted the other bike, third party fire and theft was like over £800, like $860, something like that. And for a bike I'm only going to have for a year, I was just like, let's just get a year's experience out of the way on a bike which is cheap to run. So that's the reasoning behind this choice. It's only got 10.6 horsepower, so it's not at the limit. You can go up to about 15 on a CBT in the UK and most of Europe. So it's 10.6. It struggles to go above 60 unless I'm fully tucked and it's not windy. I am about 90 to 95 kilos, so if you're a lighter person it probably will be able to hit that 70 mark a bit easier. But fuel economy, all 125s are damn good, but this one, because it's got skinnier tyres, it's lower powered, it's got a rated MPG of like 120, but you can, if you drive nicely, you can apparently squeeze 140 out of it, meaning the 15 litre fuel tank gets you over 300 miles for about 14 quid, which just is amazing. And for a first bike, if anything goes wrong on it, I can fix it pretty much. It's only air cooled, which is lovely. So there's no servicing of coolant to do. If I have to take the head off, I'd have to drain the coolant. Everything's quite easy to get to because it's not a sports bike, it's a commuter nakedy thing, so everything's quite open. So in terms of that, it's great. The biggest issue is the tyres. They're, what is it, 100mm rear tyre, which is tiny. So it tips in, this bike tips in like nobody's business. And if you're going like 60 around quite a tight corner, you are clenching a little bit, praying that the tiny little contact patch is on your side. It's obviously not meant to be a sports bike, so they just chucked very economical tiny little tyres on there, and that's really what you get. But these new tyres, I can tell, even just by wearing them in slowly, I can tell they're grippier. when you felt the tyre in your hand compared to the old one, it was stickier, it was softer, and it's just that little bit of reassurance on a tyre that skinny is what's needed. So I would recommend to anyone who's got this bike or thinking of getting this bike to change the tyres out for these Continentals. That's just off this ride though. I'll give a full review on them once I've experienced them in all weathers and actually pushing it around some corners a bit faster. I need to find some twisties when I go out during the day and it's a bit hotter. I'll try to find some twistier roads just to break these tyres in a bit more, because at the moment my chicken strips are going to be 90% of the tyre. Does anyone else who rides motorcycles favour a side? On my old tyres I got rid of my chicken strips on the right, but I still had a bit on the left. I could not lean as far left as I can right. My argument is like this left corner, I can't see round it, and also I can't, if I do somehow lose it, I'm sliding into oncoming traffic. Whereas I'm taking a right-hander, because we drive on the left, if I take a right-hander, you can see the exit a lot earlier, and if I slide out, I'm going to be in a bush, which I think is better than oncoming traffic. So I think just that in the back of my mind makes me go slower around left-hand corners, to be honest. But what do you think? Is anyone got a preference? Do you prefer turning left? Do you prefer turning right? Can you lean as far left or as far right? Is it the same for you? Thank you, monsieur. So yeah, I ordered the tyres and I've ordered a new betterer chain and sprocket set for this bike. And I ordered them at the same time. The tyres came like a week ago, and the chain is not coming until the middle of September. They said it would be a 10-day wait, but then I had an email saying actually the suppliers changed their mind and they're not getting here till the middle of September. So the chain's not worn out, but it's getting there. I want to get there before it gets bad, so I've got a few miles to do going to work and stuff on this bike, so I want to get a decent chain and new sprockets on there. So yeah, we just got to hold out. I'm just making sure I keep this chain maintained as I can, nice and clean, nice and lubed, just so that it lasts that little bit longer until this new one comes. And it's an O-ring chain, so I believe you still have to maintain them, but it's got grease inside the rollers, it's O-ring sealed, so they just last a bit longer, to be honest. You still clean the outside and lube the rollers and stuff, but the inside, all the internals are nice and lubricated. Also, the way I managed to get rid of my chicken strips, to be honest, was on the right hand side mainly. It was going around car parks, and usually it's like a roundabout, so you turn right around the car park, so I could lean right over, going quite slow but take the corner quite sharp and lean right over and just get used to leaning that way, whereas there's not many places that you can go slow and lean quite hard going left, so I've got to find somewhere just to practice my left turns to get them a bit more controlled. What time are we on here? 20:22, so we're at 20 past 8. And the nights are starting to get a bit shorter. It's usually dark by about 9:30 now, whereas it could be gone 10 last month and it'll still be nice and light. So we're starting to lose our daylight, sadly. And I mainly go out in the evening, especially at the moment. It's summer holidays, family's home, so I wait till the kiddies are tucked up in bed, and then I can go out for a little squirt as fast as this thing will let me go. I'm liking these tyres though, I will admit, I do like these tyres. Just got to get used to them. But I feel more confident on them. Let's take this corner a bit. Oh, gravel. I mean, a lot of UK roads, I can't see myself chucking round because there's gravel in the roads, there's usually massive potholes, it's just terrible road conditions in the UK. Ask anyone who lives here, they'll tell you it's awful. You go to Europe, it is amazing. I don't even know why we bother paying road tax, to be honest. It is pretty shambolic. And then the fixes they do, they just chuck a bit of tarmac in a pothole. It usually leaves a lump, which is just as bad, and then it falls apart in about 2 weeks, so you got the pothole there again. But the councils keep paying them to do it that way. I had a cat's eye, so I'm not sure what you guys call it in other countries. The little reflectors on the central line there that you can see every now and then, we call those cat's eyes. I had one of those that had come out and was in the main road, and it came out, smacked the bottom of my car and cracked the underpan, not the oil pan, just like this like shielding, and it was dangling down, and it looked horrendous. I spoke to the council because they're meant to fix it because it's the state of the roads which has caused it, and they were like, oh, we'll go investigate it. But everyone knows when you tell them exactly where it is, they go and fix it, and then they will never come back to you. I emailed them several more times, and in the end I thought it's not even worth chasing them. It's just too much time emailing the bloody council to pay for your car that they broke. But yeah, that's another rant. So yeah, another thing about these skinny tyres, other than just the lack of confidence really, is tram lining on these tyres is pretty terrible. If you're, I don't know why our roads do it, but you see this strip here, imagine that but a tenth of the width, and it just continues for hundreds of metres. I don't know why our roads do it, but they wear away in that way. So there's just lines running along the road, and your tyre, being so skinny on this thing, gets trapped in it. And sometimes there's about 10 of them all across the road going the same way, and your front tyre gets trapped in one, your rear tyre gets trapped in the other, and you end up sort of crabbing along the road, and you really have to force it to come out of the tram lines, and it is terrifying. Whereas if you get a bike with a slightly wider tyre, that doesn't happen. I've actually started taking a different route to work than I have done for the last 6 years because of that. I started riding the bike there, and the A road that goes to my work is full of them, and it's just horrendous. But yeah, once I get my full A license, which is coming up next year, hopefully that won't be as much of an issue. Come on, bike. But other than the tyres, I get on with this bike. I do. Some other known faults though is when it gets wet, it can throw a wobbly. I had that recently. Nothing major. I had an engine light come up, so I bought a scanner and it was just the MAF sensor. But before I bought the scanner, I was still riding it around because the engine was running fine and it wasn't a major fault. It was obviously something electrical because it got wet. And the only issue that really happened was it struggled to start. And I don't know if it was water that had got into the switch, because sometimes I'd flick the switch a couple of times and it would work, or sometimes I just had to give it a really good couple of goes starting it and it would just start. So I'm not sure what it was, but I went on holiday for a week and left it in my in the shed, and it was a really hot week, to be honest, so it probably dried everything out, and I got back and it starts first time now, so it must be electrical connectors somewhere and getting water stuck in it. So I got some heat shrink and I've done a couple of the easy connectors just to try and make it a bit more watertight, but some of the big ones I think I'm going to have to put some sort of tape round. Electrical tape is probably ideal, other than the fact it leaves residue when someone takes it off to disconnect it and it's all sticky. So I want to see if I can find a electrical tape that doesn't leave that residue, and just sort of try shield a lot of these connectors from the elements. I don't know why I've come back onto the A38. It's one of my little routes I occasionally do just in the evening, but I'm going to try and find a side road here. Let's go full tuck mode. Let's get her up to her speed, bird. Am I still recording? I am. I don't actually know where I'm going anymore, I'm just adventuring really. I'm going wherever this Sainsbury van's going, to be honest. Get some free carrots. Before it gets too dark, let's find just a quiet little entrance or something just to stop in a sec. That looks like that's a driveway. I won't stop in someone's driveway, but right, let's turn around because I'm going into the middle of nowhere now. And a Tesco delivery van. What's going on? There's like a meet going on. Some conspiracy with all the supermarchés. Let's go a bit speedily, shall we? I'm trying to lean in a bit more, but I'm too much of a wimp. It's going to be too dark for you to see the bike in a sec. Let's just pull over here.